Hello. Hey, what's going on? What's happening? What's happening? Oh, buddy. Buddy. What do I have to share with you today? This is a surprise for both of us. All of us. I've recently, hey, you know me, dude, I'm always going through shit. I'm always going around shit. I'm always processing my life experience. And it's so interesting, is it not? I live my life in this kind of way, like there's some kind of God's plan. I live my life in the kind of way that there's like a journey that the soul will take to reach like the kingdom of heaven, or just like, you know, like awakened to the maximum state of human enlightenment. You know? It's weird. It's like I live my life like processing. I'll hear the conversations of people around me. You know, I'll be perceiving various things of life as though there was something to figure out, right? As if there was some kind of puzzle about life that if I figure it out, boom. What happens after the boom? Well, after the boom, obviously, the boons start rolling in. Duh. When it's so nice. Like it's such an intricate, complex. It's kind of a nutty, smooth flavor. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's a mild, smooth, nutty flavor with sweet hazelnut notes in it. So delicious. Okay. It's right. So I'll hear conversations happening around, and you know, I think to myself, like, I'm not necessarily, like, life is beautiful. I can compare it to, right now in this moment, I feel like a squirt bottle that's being squirt, and it's being squeezed really hard, but the hole isn't so big, so it only comes out, you know, this much at a time when I'm squeezing this motherfucker hard as shit. Like, come on! Bust! Open sesame! You know? Expecto! Patronum! You know, this little light of mine, glory be to God, yeah. I'm gonna go where they said that I can't go. Even if they can't ride, then I'm gonna still give them raincoats. Life, to me, is this it's a journey, it's a progression, it's a character, it's a progression and evolvement of who you are, your character, your persona. I tend to think in sort of binary structures. And so in the same way that, you're either evolving or you're devolving, you're sort of regressing. And I like that saying that Frank Ocean said this. He said, God gives you what you can handle. There's not too many quests all at one time, And I tend to think that if you don't handle what, if you don't eat what he put on your plate, you guys just sit there all night until, there is no being excused from the table. You fall asleep right there with that same plate. And so how many of us are just sitting there at the same table just for the infinite span of time before us? How many of us are just sitting at that table with the stale food, with the food that's been there for years on that plate, and the big man up there, the big lady with the beard up there said, yeah, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter how old it is. Doesn't matter how ugly and rancid this thing has become, how rotten. You have to eat it. This is yours to eat. Now, in my life, in my time, it's weird because it's paradoxical. On one hand, there's something static and stasis-like about my life, which is to say that it's unmoving. That's to say that no matter where I go, that's where I am. If I'm inside, hey, there I am. If I'm outside, guess what? Where I am in the world does not matter, because I'm the center of the universe wherever I go. And that's not to say I'm the most important thing in the universe, like I'm more important than other people, or trees, stars, other things, whatnot. But no matter where I go, no matter where any of us go, we're always right smack in the middle of it. If you were an ant, the same principle would hold true. If you were a bird, same thing. We're all the focal points of our lives. And so there's this stasis about my life, this thing that just never changes. The world bends around me, it just sounds cool. It sounds cool, and visually I like it appeals to me, that. But I also recognize that can sound very arrogant if one tends to pull that sort of lens out. I want to get back to that little tidbit of like life being a puzzle or some kind of game where I'm leveling up and shit. I like that. I like that idea. And that's the part that feels like some kind of structure I'm building in my life. And it's like a sacred structure in my life, which leads me to the main part that I wanted to speak about today. Good reminder. Structure. Right now, my life is kind of in this precarious spot that I've noticed. You know, I'm a young 26-year-old male in the prime of my life, more or less. Physically, this is one of the strongest forms I will be in my life, physically. Mentally, I'm probably still I'm still in that acceleration process of I don't know. I'm 26, goddammit, okay? This is what society says your prime is, physically, boom, you're strong as fuck. Bones, dense as fuck. Mind, yeah. All of that. And all that being said, I have a fire lit. I can light a cigarette with my asshole. Me and Shady deaded the past, so that basically resurrected my cash flow. I ain't rap tight the size of a fat dyke. You still fly kites daily. Catch me in my Mercedes with a nice sized baby. Okay, anyways. What I'm trying to say is, recently in my life, dude, God, can I get through an idea? Can I get through an idea? Yes, we can get through an idea. We can get through an idea. This all just shows you where my head's at. I'm trying to have some patience with myself. I'm trying to also, keep myself on some kind of track. And funnily enough, it's all just, smoke and mirrors and snakes and ladders. Like, what do you mean? What track is there? There is no track when you're in the middle of the desert. Hey, okay, here is, I'll lay out, so this, so this is so many things. This channel, this data stream is so many things. I think, most generally, it is a channel of personal, truthful anecdotes of emotional solar blasts coming from the heart of just one man in his experience, trying to tell the truth to the best of his ability, even those gut-wrenching ones, while simultaneously trying to navigate these things, because not everything has to be said. Just because it's true, or just because it appears true, doesn't mean you have to say it. Which is another thing in mind. Recently in my life, I have been really leaning into bravery, courage, the sort of Alex Hormozy idea of, you're going to die one day. And so that's been, I suppose that's been really empowering to me. Very empowering for me. It's like, I'm going to die. What does it matter? What does any of this matter? What if people judge me for the things that I have uttered out of my mouth? Why self-censor? Why restrict myself to only expressing myself in certain ways? Because, funnily enough, I've heard so many things come out of this mouth, and not all of them have painted me in a gorgeous lighting. But even so, life is the good, the bad, and the ugly, and even the ugly gets some shine at the end of the movie. They're all standing on stage and they get some roses thrown at them. And the reason why I think the ugly is beautiful just as well is because everybody has it. Everybody knows it. And whether or not we will express the sort of ugly thoughts that we have, well, we do think them. We do share them. And so sometimes, this is what I like to hear. This is what I like to see. This is what I like to experience. Some of the shit that never hears or sees the light of day coming out. And it finally becomes, it graduates and evolves from being a subterranean thought form to some kind of slimy cretin that crawls along the ground. And so it's been really beautiful. And it's been so many things, right? It's been, I really like this part of my life right now, this chapter, because I'd categorize it with courage, bravery. What are you courageous about? It's just like, I have an acute awareness of the things that I have an acute awareness whenever I bump up against some kind of boundary in my own emotional, mental realm. I just bumped in. I just became aware and I bumped into some kind of conversation or some kind of thought that makes me feel uncomfortable. Well, it's just a feeling. It's just a thought. It's even just an opinion about me. Why don't we go and explore that? Let's see what it is. That could be interesting. An idea kind of like this. Like these. So that's part of it. But this is a long-ass intro, is it not? I didn't even get into the first thing I wanted to talk about. But I'm totally okay with that, dude. You know how much time we have? We've got so much fucking time. It's kind of crazy, we're in a rush for anything at all. Why? You know, this is a problem within our society. You know, we're all so accustomed to being anxious and being worried about being fast enough, and that we're all conditioned. Every single one of us has been conditioned to believe that non-emergency, things that are not emergencies, people will put a red marker on those things and circle it in red and say, "This is urgent. Quick, this is urgent." We have to call them. Call them and what? We have to call them. We have to let them know. What do we got to let them know? Call them and let them know that we didn't have the mini chocolate chips, so we had to go with some regularly sized ones. You're right. That's important. You know, we behave as though everything is just dire. All of it. Dire. That now, a lot of us are dealing with the sort of residual effects of that. We all used to be so chill. We all used to be so relaxed. We used to be relaxed, man. People would come up to you and they'd say, "Hey, did you do that press release?" And you'd say, "Yeah, I started. I didn't get to finish it though. I had some other things to do." And they'd be like, "It's all right, cool. I'm just here to remind you. How about we move on to that?" And then you're like, "Yeah, sure, whatever." All right, you know what? Here's what the truth is now. I'm getting lost in the sauce, Gucci Mane style. I'm talking about something that's like, I'm talking about something that's not even in South Central LA anymore, right? It's not even in my neighborhood. It's not in my locale. It's not in me. I don't feel it. I'm off it. See, this is my new shit. My new shit is starting from a place of power. Where's your place of power? Wherever is central to you in the current moment of things. Why am I talking about some business related corporate jargon, press release? What the fuck is a press release? I'm a goddamn artist. I make YouTube videos. I make voice memos. I record voice memos. I draw pictures in notebooks. The closest thing to a press release is anytime I hit post on any platform whatsoever. That's the closest thing to a press release, is what's in the description or the captions of my Instagram posts. This is the closest thing to a press release I know. And nobody on planet Earth ever asks me or tells me, "Hey, we're late on that post." And if they did, I probably would not blow up at them like Tom Cruise did at that one boom mic guy. But, I don't know what I would do in that moment of things. I'd like to think that I'd respond accordingly. I'm talking Mortal Man outro level shit. Are you just the type of guy that responds when your back's against the wall? He says, "I'd like to think that anytime I came into resistance, I met it with resistance." Meet life. Keep that same energy. You know, so oh, dude, this is the best, because this is kind of like the poor days, dude. This is the fucking best. This is like, you know, this is the come up. Motherfucker, on the come up. You know, this is what they all talk about. Back when we were poor. Back when we were in Oakland. Living in Oakland, just chilling. You know, I thought we'd be kicking back by now. I thought we would put her in the cab by now. I know that life is a bitch. But I'm stressing. I can't relax. Swallowing my pride, and I'm hiding. It's making me mad. Everybody's saying I need rehab, but speeding with a blindfold on, and it won't be long until they're watching me crash, and they don't want to see that. You see, part of the lyrics no longer sort of grip me in the same kind of way. I used to listen to that song loud as hell in my car and cry. And this is when I was addicted to many things. And I was also working just a menial job. And I was like, fuck, dude. My life sucks. I'm destined for more. But, you know, just kind of sitting in the mud. Sitting in the mud. Ugh, this mud sucks. My life now is characterized by... Oh, dude, it's kind of like... Dude, there's something sinister about this shit, dude. I'll be real with you. And I'll get to that after I talk about this real quick. Right now, dude. Right now is the fucking poor days. Today, this is the before picture. And I'm talking within the poor days. Like this is some kind of time capsule, and I'm gonna look back and I'm gonna think, fuck, dude. You know, I don't know what I'm gonna think. I'm gonna be a different person at that time. I wrote my mom a letter when I was like 7, and I saw this letter on her desk the other day, and I read it, and I wanted to cry, and I wanted to die, and I hated that was me. Not even gonna lie. You know, the letter went a little bit like, "Hi, when you're done, do you think I can play the Xbox, please? Love, your favorite son." I'm not her only child. You know, oh, dude. And oh man, and another thing, you know, another one of my recent things is get rid of all forms of media whatsoever is my new kind of thing. Like, in Mr. Canizaro's class, my old philosophy teacher, there was one quote that I remember. Just one. That's it. Just one. And this one quote was, "If you listen to the news, you're misinformed. If you don't listen to the news, you're uninformed." Wow, this is a really annoying talk. I just keep saying the same thing. You know what my new shit is? You know what my new shit is? Hey, you know what my new shit is? minutia is, don't take anything, to any piece of information that is out there at all for anything, don't take that as some kind of factual thing. That quote that I heard, if you listen to the news, you're misinformed, that much, and that much I do kind of believe in that. But that tidbit about not listening to the news, you're uninformed, forget about that. I think I'm all about processing the information of life on my own, filtering it all through my own brain. It's crazy. Like, it's the norm nowadays to filter out information through people other than yourself. Like, hey, tell me if this is alright. Tell me if this is okay. Tell me if this is the thing. Tell me if this is when? Who? Where does this start? Whose opinion is right? Whose opinion are we going to go with? And, how far is that going to trickle down or trickle over? So at any given point in time, I don't take any information as law. Like, I'm taking whatever the hell, my brain spits out over anybody else, because we're equality, son. Dude, we're all just specks of dust, We're all individual, unique snowflakes, every single one of us. And for me to ask that other snowflake, hey, dude, how'd you get that pattern? Whatever. It's like, I would be disillusioning myself. I would be perpetuating a strange. I'm basically setting myself up to be taken advantage of and lied to in such a case. Setting myself up to be somebody else's lackey. And I could never, dude. And so, I recognize that in this moment in time, I'm very explosive. I'm very high octane in this very moment, this sort of energy output. But right now, I'm alone, and I'm walking on the sidewalk out in the local scene, if you will. And if I were in a conversation with somebody else, it would be more modest. It would be more reserved, we would be more tranquil and serene waters, would we not? But, another part of my, everything really is this sort of learning process, though. Because life, call it life, call it God, call it universe, call it school, call it whatever you want, dude. Like, if you're set up properly and you're open to it, the world will show you. The world will teach you. The world will... If you open up your mind, you open up your soul and spirit to the world, it will reveal places in your life where you have opportunities to grow. I call this whole thing the illumination of the path. The path illuminates itself. In my day, it kind of started like this. It was like, okay, first you're going to start working out. I was like, all right, great. And then it was like, all right, now you're going to start trying to be a better person and be a kinder, more thoughtful individual. Perfect. Then it was like, okay, now we're going to sort of try and do some like Yoshimitsu sort of spiritual radiance kind of thing, where we're going to sort of try and bring about a certain kind of emotion and perhaps an emotional impact for those around us. And I was like, all right, great. What's next? And I was like, all right, now we're going to try and we're going to see, oh, it looks like you've picked up some drug habits. Let's see if we can get rid of those. I was like, all right, great. It's like, all right, now let's see how far we can go without telling any lies whatsoever. Let's see the degree, what is the hottest degree of truthful conversation you can pull out of your heart in any given moment in time about how you really feel about what's going on in your present experience. Present shared experience is with other people especially. Great, let's and all these sorts of things. And it's it's still going. What's happening now? Oh, man. Oh, dude, what's happening now is this is happening to me more and more frequently now more than ever, to where I'll start feeling one kind of emotion. Let's call it dread. And then in an instant, the moment that I start feeling this kind of dread or like a dragging of down, I instantly become awakened to my ability to change that very easily. And I also am reminded of times where in this moment in time I can yell out, it's so easy. But I've also been, even recently, amidst times where it's like, holy shit, easy? I don't know how easy this is. So I'm in the middle, my man. There's many planes of existence we're living on. We're living as physical creatures in the 3D realm. We have bodies that take up space and matter, and we also have minds with emotions. And those exist in some kind of like fifth dimensional realm where they don't necessarily inhabit space, but they dictate the sort of track and they manipulate the direction of your third dimensional space taken up body and shit. So your mind, these things that are are more vast than your physical body, your emotional, the emotional plane, the mental realm, the world of energy. These are bigger than our bodies, but they definitely will dictate a lot. a lot of our experience. You know, and then there's a whole bunch of shit, you know? There's a whole bunch of other shit that I have no clue about. I'm talking faith, dude. I'm talking, what's the line between faith and delusion? I'm over here like, you know, here's my take, dude. I'm like, fuck all of it. I don't give a shit if I look back at any of this and I'm embarrassed. I don't care. Dude, I'm not kidding. Like, I'm not kidding when I say that I can't go and work at Walmart. I can't. I cannot. I can't work at a Jimmy John's. I can't. I can't be defeated. Oh, fuck, dude. We gotta play New Slaves by... Okay, Google. Play New Slaves by Kanye West. You know the end of the song where it flips? It says, I can't lose. No, I can't lose. No, I can't leave it to you. So let's get too high. Get too high again. Like, I'm on that level right now. Like, there is no turning back. This is all of it. I'm saving nothing for the swim back, and I'm only going further into this. I'm only. There's not a chance I'm leaving anything out on the field. I'm a get or die trying, do or die, AZ style. And so I've been in this really dumb place. Okay, it's not dumb. It makes some sense, but I'm just... I constantly reawaken into, like, some kind of orthogonal perspective where I get to overlook, you know, a time where I was existing, kind of like Matthew McConaughey in Interstellar, and he's, like, sending messages back in time, like, hey, don't go! Don't go! But, you know, alas, he never gets the message. He only receives the message in a way where he only just got the sign. He got the sign. The clock stopped. His watch stopped ticking. How was he supposed to take that how was he supposed to get that sort of message? And that was the message that was for him to say, don't go. I got that message today, don't go. I got that message later than I should have. But, funnily enough, now I recognize what the sign is when that message is being transmitted from that future event. There's two messages, and here's what they are. The first one, relax. It doesn't get much better than this. This is a sign that my dad's girlfriend put up in their auto body shop, in their office. Relax. It doesn't get much better than this. You know, we're human beings. We're already, like, there is no leveling up to do. We are already at our max capacity. Sure, you can learn some shit and build your knowledge or whatever, but all of your skill sets and all of these things, they're pretty much there, okay? Yeah, you know, there's something to be said about, you know, having the skill to be able to learn things, or picking up guitar, but... or maybe learning meditative practices or spiritual practices to bring about various emotions or perspectives, you know, that will you can filter your life experience through, and it'll extrude a new kind of experience. Usually ones that are blissful, tranquil, You know, you can be more of a therapist. You can be more of a... you can help other people sort of relax, zen out, chill out, get their emotions going. You know, circulate. Circulate and percolate. Percolate, my friend. Percolator later. Alright, so there's this. But... And then the next message, which is this little sign in the living room at my mom's house, and it says, "Stay a while." Well, tonight, I was making some macaroni and cheese at the stove, and my mom's fiance comes out. I'm doing something, I'm going against my own sort of code in this instant. You know, I'm listening to a podcast that's not my own. Right now, I'm 26, blah, 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 blah. I'm trying to get somewhere. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to get somewhere. I'm trying to be somebody. First of all, I have enough of an ego. Whatever. I'm already who I am. I love myself. Blah, blah, blah. all the yada yadas, all the hoopla, all that jazz. But I'm trying to optimize my time in a way where I think to myself, well, if I listen to a podcast, that means, you know, instead of listening to a podcast, I could listen to my own podcast. I could listen, you know, I can edit a video. I can draw a picture for my stuff. I'm always thinking, you know, how can I do the work that pertains to my shit as opposed to consuming other people's? This is the sort of realm. This is the sort of top heavy. This is the area of top heaviness in my life. In my life, I have an addictive personality, and it's been like this for everything in my entire life. Since the dawn of my existence, I've been addicted to something. There was something that has been top heavy in my life. You know, video games, exercise, eating food, drugs. Now it's workaholism. Now it's getting my unique personal career going, ripping. And everything has a sort of, you know, flowing outwards and then a sort of return back. You know, homeostasis, pendulum swinging, all these things. And anyways, so I was listening to a podcast. It's Joe Rogan and the RZA. You know, Joe Rogan, listened to him for a long time. And, you know, now it's kind of falling out. You know, Joe Rogan is sort of falling out of my sphere more and more over the years. But he had the RZA from the Wu-Tang Clan on. And so that really piqued my goddamn interest, because the RZA is one of the most influential figures in my life. 5% Nation, dude, that and the Supreme Mathematics, the Supreme Alphabet. These things rocked my goddamn world and took me into a place that was, dude, they navigated my psychosis, okay? They were the roadmaps to my psychosis. Oh my, and I wouldn't wish that upon anybody. Unless they wanted some kind of like transcendent psychedelic experience, dude. Yeah. But looking out at the world and then seeing numbers and trying to put, you know, and seeing letters and trying to equate letters to other numbers and those numbers to various words and shit. Oh my, and trying to read life like some kind of like some secret Morse code and everything. Holy shit. The world can become convoluted and confusing and ridiculous really, really, really fast. And so, you know, as tumultuous and as sucky that was to experience that in real time for me, the sort of tumultuous turmoil and anxiety and stress of living life in that way during that chapter, I still hold it very near and dear. It was special, and the art that was made during that time was crazy. And so I respect that, and I love that, because I love life in that way. Especially love art. And the memories, dude. The memories and the experiences of it are so great. And that pretty much goes for everything in my life. Every single experience that I've ever had, all the good ones and bad ones, they're all my favorite. There's something, and that just gives me more faith to go and just do more shit throughout my life. Because if even the bad things I can look back and be fond of, dude, what's the goddamn downside of anything? There's glory in it all. All right. Next. So, that little podcast was on. Mom's fiance comes out. And we're just chatting it up a little bit. And next thing we know, we get into a talk about psychedelics. And I get that little feeling, dude. We're connecting at a level that we rarely connect at. And I was feeling pretty good. It looked like he was feeling pretty good. We were feeling more relaxed, more on ease, and less on edge, less skeptical, paranoid, and fearful of each other. And I like that a lot. It was amazing to connect with someone such as him. And, the place that I fucked up is, I was making macaroni at this time. And so, part of me was focused on the macaroni making. Like, I gotta dice this cheese up, put the cheese inside this was homemade macaroni, okay? So I had to cut the cheese up myself. I had to add the splash of milk and the butter myself. This was not powdered Kraft macaroni and cheese. This was artisan, handcrafted macaroni and cheese by yours truly. But part of my brain was like primal in that instant, animal mode. Gotta chop the cheese because that's the next thing to do, as opposed to putting all of my attention into this conversation, all of my attention on this other human being. And so that's where I fucked up. So I gotta stay a while. I should give. I have no clue. Maybe I'll just remember that for next time. Like, dude, forget about the macaroni. The macaroni isn't important. There is no spoon. I repeat, there is no spoon. Focus. Hone your chi on your own energy. What does it feel like inside of you right now? Don't try and posture and put up an image. Try and reflect. Open up and embody what it's like to be you in this very moment in time. What does it feel like to be you? Leave nothing on the field. Or leave nothing, just leave it all on the field. What does it feel like to be you? Truthfully, authentically, true. In this moment, what does it feel like to be in your skin, in your body, in your experience? Let it be known in your face, in your movements, in your actions, in everything that you do. Shine that light directly into the pores, through the windows of the soul of another human being. Do it now! So I'd probably say some kind of message like that for the future. Fuck the macaroni and cheese, dude. Give your attention to the people. Next. My life nowadays it's more or less predicated. It's man versus nature, or man versus machine, or something like that. Or man versus his environment, or man versus system, man versus matrix. Where I have some big dreams. I have some unconventional ideas. I have some, unconventional life path that I how do I word this? Oh, you know what? It's okay. I have enough time to word it in all the ways. So I don't need to worry about how this comes across, during the first pass through. I've got an unconventional life path that I'm gonna take. That's one way. I have an unconventional life path that I feel a sort of intrinsic calling to pursue, and I would love to pursue that. And I also recognize that, if I come across all big-headed and just say, Mom, Dad, I'm basically just gonna do whatever the fuck I want, they're not gonna take too kindly to that unless I articulate myself properly. But I think that was more or less it. And I have this thing where I'm, what's the sort of balance between being like completely 100% faithful and coming across as cocky, confident, and arrogant in your belief that it's gonna happen because I have to make it happen, because it's gotta happen, because I need it to, and then because you sort of believe in it with that kind of fervor, you put in the sort of effort and all the work and all the sort of ancillary, accessory pieces to that to bring about that kind of life. There's that. And then there's like something else, like what it really feels like, what faith breaks down into after the sort of machismo, bravado, papier-mâché face mask of what faith looks like. Because part of this whole thing to me, that what I've gotten to see, it's like, dude, I am preaching a message that I need to hear. You get me? I'll post things on my story or whatever that, it might get the people going. It's to be provocative. But it's also a kind of message that I'm yelling out there into the world. It's weird. It's so weird. Sometimes I feel like it's just different. Like, if I was on stage, just in the middle, out in public, outside, and I grab a microphone, I'm like, everybody, believe in yourself, chase your dreams. People will be like, yeah. But sometimes, God is the best, dude. He'll pop in my imagination, and he gives me a picture, he gives me an image, and it's me just busting into somebody's house, and they're just at the kitchen table eating their Frosted Flakes or what have you, and I'm like, dude, you gotta chase your dreams and believe in yourself. Also, get off the internet. That shit is toxic and bad for you. Hey, if you're listening to any sort of podcast, music, and other shit, you're consuming too much. You gotta be producing your own shit. You gotta be decomposing all your sort of belief systems, analyzing your life, looking at your actions, optimizing your life, bettering yourself, subtracting the negative energy. And this one dude, it's just one guy in the house, and he just hears that message from me. He's like, dude, I'm just eating breakfast. Can you chill? I don't need to hear that right now. And then I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. Who's my audience? Who am I talking to in this moment? In other news, we got good news, dude. We got amazing fucking news, dude. My brother, he just got a job at Disney. He got a job at Disney World. and he's moving out of the house for the first time in his entire life. 29 years old. And so it's just going to be my mom and I in the house. And this is amazing, dude. This is like, I'm going to give out the word, bro. It's not exciting. Well, it is exciting. It's not anxiety. It's energizing. It is energizing. It's like, whoa! Cliffhanger. What's going to happen to us? What's going to happen in our story? This is going to be crazy. What's it going to be like if it's just us two? What's it going to be like for him over there where he's all alone? Oh, God. Okay. I'm excited. This is awesome. This is fucking awesome. All the possibilities. And not to mention, like, I'm not going to say this has lit a new fire under my ass and then I'm more motivated as a result. It's like, bro, how are you going to... Dude, Mamba mentality, bitch. Truly. I've been all on top of the P's and Q's. Is all I'm trying to say. Like, It's not like this is the sort of wake up call for me to get my shit together is what I'm trying to say. It's like I've been sort of this is an ongoing process for me. And I find it even more beautiful because this is good. I think this is good. I think it could be good. You know, and if anything, it's just another step into the future. And change is good. I was watching a movie the other day. Fuck movies, dude. This is actually the problem with content in general for me. I'm no longer the person who I once was. I can't just sit down or lay down and watch something somebody else made anymore. It has to go along. I can't just sit and consume something anymore unless it's food. Like, it has to be sort of ancillary to anything else that I'm doing. And so the other day I was watching this movie, 100 Meters. And it was like Chinese water torture for me. Like, I can't, it's amazing. It's like, I can't distract myself anymore. I can't watch a movie and do nothing and just feel good anymore. It's more like, sorry, we gotta go do something else. And I just constantly get these signals. It's like, no, how about we go outside? How about we go for a walk? How about we make something ourselves? It's like, watch this. What is it? Because I'm at the point, dude. Here's what it is, dude. It's like going into Plato's cave. It's like, I can't watch the images on the back room of the cave and then be like, wow, that story. Did you see the story of the freaking cave pictures? It's so moving. It's like, no. Like, when you actualize your life past a certain point, all of the movies and all these sorts of things, they're more or less depictions of the hero's journey, or like something. They're all stories of the hero's journey, more or less. Main protagonists, suavemente charismatic, charming, handsome main character gets the lady, has problem, has villain, just uppercuts and utterly eviscerates the rival, wins at life, we all know the story. And it's like, all of these stories are kind of like that. And so watching them is like, it's like living my life on slow motion. Or it's like listening to somebody who wants to tell you the answers about something and you're like, yeah, I know. Can we talk about something else? Can we talk about the political and economical state of the world right now, bro? Dude, I'm so happy. Dude, I remember being a little kid, dude. I remember being a little kid and being lost. Utterly lost. No idea what I was going to do. No idea how to do the things that I was doing. Being more or less deceptive. Hey, because it was me, I can call myself a coward. I had an inner sort of perspective on that. At any moment in time where I had to speak my mind or something like that, I would just lie and take the easy way out. Just give the nice response, the response that sounds the best. Makes me look and seem like a good boy. I see nowadays that that's just, it's a facade, it's a mask, and people aren't gonna take the mask off. People aren't gonna take the mask off of you for you in life. Something that I recognized is like, people know. They know. They know there's things that you're not ready to handle, ready to deal with yet, and so you turn away from it. People know. It comes out in your responses. It comes out in all the things you don't say. It comes out in the things that you're willing to say. It comes out in the particular pattern. Like, we think we're so slick. All of us think we're so slick that, like, even when we're hiding something, or if we're hiding something, that we actually can do that successfully. But it's interesting to be able to see things from a different perspective, because it's so subtle. It's all so subtle. The particular spectrum of emotions people will only want to wade in. The specific sort of outlooks or responses that people feel like they can give about life or their circumstance. Hey, how are you? I can't complain. Sorts of whatever. All I'm saying is, look, we see it. I tend to experience this a lot nowadays. The world itself rewards courageous behavior. That doesn't always look like you're getting pats on the backs and validation from other people. But when you start speaking from a place that there is no questioning whether it's true or not. Fuck passion, dude. When things are true, things are true. When things resonate with you, as opposed to you just fucking swinging at some kind of idea that it makes you feel a kind of way. When you're speaking from your goddamn diaphragm, son. When you're speaking from a place that connects, the part of you that connects you with the other people that you're talking to. When you're talking from this place, there's nothing to dispute. And, I was gonna say, I think that's it for tonight, guys, but I know that this thing is infinite. That I go until I go no longer. And so, I never run out of things to say. I kind of just decide, they're to put in a cutoff point, an arbitrary ending to things. Take up some new activity. And one of my methods to bring about things that I thought I'd mention is to, wrap things up and give myself that little space of pondering time. Just in case there was anything of significance that I wanted to just jot down here. Here's the thing. life isn't all that complicated. This is a quote this is something that I heard from somebody named Uncle Barry. My grandmother's brother. And Uncle Barry, I met him last summer. He said, life isn't complicated. It's people that make it complicated. And he also said to me, unsolicited advice is just that. You didn't ask for it. Those might be the best quotes. Those might be the most applicable quotes in my life, in this chapter of my life right now. Where, dude, I'm essentially going through the lonely chapter. Nobody in my life right now is living the life that I want, and I also don't know anybody yet who is living the life that I want. Which, hey, I'll bring out another one. I'm always bringing out new cards. This is a fishtail. This is a fishtail braid of concepts. I don't fit my old friends. I don't quite fit my old friends. And I haven't yet met my new friends. Is a better way to put it. Because I don't think it's really about the sort of thing about... Because nobody living the life that I want. I'm living the life that I want right now. More or less. You see, like, in this moment in time, right here, right now, I'm as free as you could ever be as a human being in their entire life. I got freedom of movement. I've got freedom of speech. It's like, relax, you know? It doesn't get much better than this. If I had a yacht, you know, that would only bring about limitations. I wouldn't be able to move in all the ways that I can move now. I would be restricted to that yacht in some kind of way. It's, you know, it's the same kind of restrictions that fresh food brings in my life. You know, I would buy, I used to buy this salad. I used to buy the romaine from Costco. Get 6 heads of 6 romaine hearts for like $4. And then it would actually make me nervous and anxious just having those in the fridge, because they would only be getting worse. They'd only be getting less fresh as the days would go by. And so I would be anxious, like, oh my God, I've got to eat a salad today. And do you see this? Something that's supposed to be nice, something that's supposed to be good, healthy, delicious, something that's supposed to be nutritious and only a positive event for me, it had these sort of negative repercussions that I didn't even get to fucking see. All of a sudden now I feel like Like I've got some kind of commitment to this romaine lettuce. You see? I only have a commitment to the connection that I have with divinity. I only have a commitment to my connection with the essential fabric, energy field of the universe. I only have a commitment to represent the energy to the best of my ability. That's my only commitment. I believe that all good comes to those that stay true. And I thank Uncle Barry for those quotables, being the 80-year-old man that he was in that moment in time, full of life, loving, happy, engaged in conversation, fucking awesome as hell, and all these things. Because that's, this is the point in my life that I'm at, where it's, even the people closest to me that love me, and I know they love me, and I know they want the best for me, I can't take their advice. Because although they want the best for me, it's like they're not going to places that I'm going. They're not, we don't have the same manual. We don't, there's some different type of rules that we obey. Bay, season, yeah, we was all born to die, do your age. I don't see no Kate, yeah. And this isn't to throw shade, and it's not to disrespect. And it's not to say that I'm better. It's not to say that you're worse. And it's not to be that to feel as though I'm narcissistic, or to gaslight myself into thinking that I'm sinning and I'm prideful and I'm arrogant. It's no, I have no other options, okay? At this point, I'm utterly unemployable. Nowadays, you'll just find a lot of people who are fed up with their circumstances in life. And so they put on a persona and they walk around feeling resentful of life. And sometimes these people are in positions of power and authority, and they'll try and get you to do some shit. They'll mistreat you. And then they'll make your life worse. They'll actively try and hurt you at the emotional, psychological level. And they'll want to humiliate you. And you're basically on a fraternity's sort of permanent hazing schedule, where you are the shit hammer that gets all of the worst tasks. And they they never treat you like how they want to be treated. They treat you in a way that's, I gotta secure my rubies. And so people are compromised at the level of how we treat each other as humans. And this is all across the planet. Dude, we need a spiritual revolution. Rainn Wilson, we need a soul boom, dude. I've worked with so many people that only operate, they're only operating in 4 dimensions. Okay, they're operating in space, and they're operating with time. Energy, fuck energy. Energy, that shit goes out the window. Do they give a fuck about energy? Barely and rarely. They are, they think that they're not in control of their energy. They think that other people dictate how they get to feel. Other people dictate, if energy was how we lived our lives and whatnot, how we felt about life, how we felt about each and every one of our experiences, then energy is pretty significant. And I've noticed a lot of people that I've come in contact with, they say fuck all of that shit. Here we are in space, and here's time, this shit that we don't have. Move faster! Go fast! And everyone's just having a bad time. It's a toxic culture. And so as for me, I still believe. I've put 1,000% of my ability points into the faith game at this point in time, dude. I'm going priest class. I'm going cleric in this hoe. Truthfully, I'm going cleric in this bitch. Maybe I can get it to 4th job advancement, and I can get the Holy Spirit. Holy Spirit buff. Holy symbol buff. Excuse me. Give my party members experience boost for every mob killed. Excuse me, defeated. So what am I doing? I'm sending a message. I'm sending a message. All I have to do is transmute the message. That's all I have to do. All I have to do is open up, transmute the message. and trust that the message will be received. That's all. Those are the only two things I have to do. And then maybe the third thing is you just experience what it is to trust the message. To trust the receiving of the message too. Because sometimes the sort of message that you receive, you think to yourself, oh fuck, if I had faith, doesn't that mean that I should be moving around confidently? Doesn't that mean that I should be moving around with my chest out and my spine straight, and that I'm like the man, I'm the fucking dude? Like, isn't this what it means to be like, faithful and confident? And in my experience, Magic Conch, he's like, no. It's like, no. Sometimes, the thing that you transmute is the cramped, blood-curdling fear and anxiety and stress that you have in the moment in time, and you can't mask that. You actually have to be it. You actually have to be that blood-curdling, stressed out, fearful, anxious being, that entity, that feeling, and you have to be it. Because what I've actually gotten to notice is you only have two options. First and foremost, you recognize that in that moment in time, that is what you are. That is who you are. That's all your mind can think about. That's all that's resonating with you that feels like it's the most true representation of you. It might not be your favorite sort of look about yourself. It might not be your favorite... Oh man, it doesn't make me look good. Damn it. But hear me out for a second. You're either that and you own that. That's who you are. In your bones, in your muscles, in your mind, body, and spirit, that is who you are, and you know it. Even though it doesn't make you seem all heroic and cool and strong and, war cry, let's go to battle. That is you. And so you either own that as who you are, or in that moment in time, you just spend all your time and energy rejecting that part of yourself, trying to pull yourself up to your bootstraps. Be confident. Be mean. Come on. You can fucking do it like that. Trying to control, trying to manipulate, trying to hold on, trying to stabilize, trying to steady, trying to self-right, trying to... Basically, just trying to do and be anything other than what you are in that moment in time. And so it really, what I've gotten to experience with the whole thing, it's just binary. It's just binary, dude. You want to have that trust, you want to have that faith? Well, guess what? That means that you trust who you are in all scenarios and circumstances. When you're a shy guy, when you're an angry guy, when you're a proud guy, when you're a intellectual guy, when you're a confused guy, when you're a scared guy, when all of the guys that you are these people. And so we're this ever changing sort of energy wave. And so really what you want to do is you want to mostly just take yourself out of the picture. Not that I need to tell you that, right? I don't really need to tell you that, right? Fuck it. Sometimes, I need to get over this. Here's my neuroses. Here's something that I'm trying to think how to phrase this even. I'm thinking to myself, is this something that I in this moment in time say that I'm going to get over? Do I say that this is my work to work on getting over? Or is it more of a snap sort of, I commit that this is behind me now, and it's behind me now because I said so, and yes, from now on, it just won't go down like that. Or what have you. You know, I have this sort of presupposition that anything I say in this moment in time, in the future, it just doesn't go. It just doesn't fit. You know, in the moment in time where somebody hears this, you know, perhaps myself or some other, they hear this and they hear what? They hear me say, you know, you really just want to take yourself out of it most of the time. You want to get yourself out of the picture. You just want just put it in the mailbox. Put it in the mailbox. And go. Okay, you don't need to hang around for some selfies. You don't gotta knock on the doorbell and say, hey, I put your mail in the mailbox. No, you be an unsung hero. You just put it in the mailbox and you go, okay? And that, my friends, if we can come into the awareness that any and all the feelings, expressions, and ways we feel emotions from life through, if we can recognize that each and every one of these, there's not one that is better than another, and if we can get rid of our preference for positive ones, and if we can get rid of our aversion and distaste for negative ones, then we can actually just live in a place where all of them are good, and that everything is perfect. That good and bad no longer exist. And we can find this. You will find this out if you actually allow yourself to pursue a little bit of those negative emotions. You know, when you feel those negative emotions and then you know, you'll wear the negative emotion on your face, or you'll wear the negative emotion in your body. You notice that you notice that it doesn't taste so bad in your mind. You feel the negative emotions. They ride around in your body. And they no longer exist as fear or things to be avoided or threats in your mind. You know, they're no longer associated with bad things. Instead, they're just associated with who you are and how you feel, and that it's a signal, it's a message. And I love that moment because it's the moment where our fear of connection goes away. And instead, if you're anything like me, now you sort of feel the sort of other part of that, which is that you don't want to separate. You're like, no, we found love in a hopeless place. Can we continue? And in my experience, time and time again, we'll always pull away. We'll always pull away from this thing Because who's got time to love, right? Who's got time to love nowadays? All right. I'm gonna dip out tonight. I'm gonna listen to some music. Last little tidbit of a message I think I'd like to say, because here's that message. Sometimes I do need to be reminded, because sometimes I can be so in the thick of some kind of like psychosis event or anxious and clenched that all I'm seeing is that. I see nothing but just so tense. I'm contracted everywhere. I'm trying to control everything. I'm trying to shut out everything. I don't like how I'm viewing anything. And so sometimes, if I can send out a little reminder. I would say be that. I think that would be my message. I'd say be that. Go and lean into that discomfort. Lean into it. Dip your toe in. Get your shins in. Ooh, feel it. What does it feel like? What does it really feel like? You don't need to stare directly into the sun. Just feel the warmth of the sun. You feel that? That's what focusing is in my life. Sometimes I'll be so wrapped up in an emotion. Oftentimes it's like fear. It's a fear state. Fear. And it'll get into my system, and it'll have a feedback loop effect where I'm no longer certain on what to do. Do I look at them, or do I try and find God? What the fuck? I don't know anything anymore. My mind's trying to take over. Oh, fuck, engine 3 is down. We're going into a tailspin, everybody. Shit, we're gonna have to land this upside down on the Hudson. All right, ladies and gentlemen. That has been the sort of life update, story time of today in my life. And what a blessing it is to be alive. What an awesome experience this is. What a privilege to feel such vague and strange pressures pertaining to things that ain't even happened yet. Right? All my life I've been worried about things that have yet to even happen. And they might not even ever happen. And I might get to the end of it at some point in time and think to myself, damn, I spent a lot of time worrying about some shit that never even fucking happened. And in that moment, in my deathbed with those shitty thin covers that they have at the hospital, I can finally unclench my soul and I can laugh. Wow. And to think I spent all that time worrying about that shit. Well, looks like I'm gonna phase into the next world, everybody. You'll hear from my next incarnation soon. Be kind to him, if you will. Give him the experience of a lifetime. In only the way that you can, with your particular unique seasoning that you, or zest, or garnish that you apply to life, you special individual you. Alright. Catch you guys in the next one, everybody. God bless. And so long.